Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. This is scenario 6.5, the penultimate scenario for the entire campaign. We are with the character Drelm over at the Elemental Trenches. We're at this location. At the start of your turn, roll a 1d6, recharge all cards in your hand that have this trait. Alright, so we will be doing that effect throughout this scenario. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's a Blessing of 5. Excuse me. Rolling a d6, we rolled a 2. So anything that has the bludgeoning trait. Let's see, looking at our hand. Okay, fortunately nothing has the bludgeoning trait. What Drelm's going to do for the first thing is he's going to cast the Sands of Time spell. So he will have that available to him, adding 1 die to any check against undead or constructs. And then we will explore, and we get the Corridor Dart Trap. It's a trap construct veteran. The difficulty to defeat is increased by twice the scenario's adventure deck number. So this is scenario 6, so that's a 12. So we have to do a Dexterity Disable Stealth Perception 18 check. Well, since it's a trap, Drelm can add his D8 Divine skill, which is plus 6. And he can do his dexterity, which is just another actually no, he could do his disable check. So disable is d8 plus 5, and his wisdom is d8 plus 6. So we're adding 11 to this roll, and we need to get an 18. Alright, we get a 7, and a 7 is a 14. So we have successfully defeated the Corridor Dart Trap. Alright, and looking at Drelm's hand, I have a Blessing of Pharasma. I could do an extra exploration, but I'll keep it. So what we're going to do now is reset Drelm's hand. We're going to advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Ancients. We will roll for Elemental Trenches. It's another 2. So anything with the bludgeoning trait. Unfortunately, we do have the Sistrum of Bastet in our hand now. We just picked that. So now we have to go ahead and recharge that. So that's unfortunate. And now we will explore. We get the Fiery Glare spell. It's a Divine 8 check. So for Drelm, his Divine is D8 plus 6. So as long as he doesn't roll a 1, he will get this, and I roll a 4. So we do acquire the Fiery Glare spell. It will go in our hand. Let's see, and yeah, we'll just keep that. So what we're going to do now is we will advance the Blessings deck. We get the Curse of the Sphinx, and we have to use that right away, unfortunately. We're going to roll for Elemental Trenches. We roll a 4. So anything with the electricity trait, we will have to discard. Or not discard, but recharge. Okay, so we don't have to recharge any cards. None of our cards have the electricity trait. But we do have to go ahead and do this Curse of the Sphinx. We have to examine the top card. Okay, we examined it. So it's not a boon, so it's a bane. So we examine it, and now we have to go ahead and encounter this card. Okay, so it's a combat 6. So we did examine it, so we are dealt 1 poison damage. Fortunately, what do we got? So I have the Aegis of Recovering. Recharge this card to reduce acid, cold, or poison damage dealt to you by 0. So I'll go ahead and do that. Don't really want to lose that card. So it says the difficulty to defeat is increased by twice the scenario's adventure deck number, so that's 12. So we need a combat 18. If defeated by less than 4, and the check to defeat does not have the fire trait. Well, normally Drelm doesn't have anything with the fire trait, but we did acquire the Fiery Glare. So that's sweet. We're going to use that. So it's going to be discard this card to use your Arcane or Divine skill plus 2d4. So Drelm's Arcane is d6. We have the 2d4 here. Assembling my dice here. So 2d4 plus what we can do. We have that Blessing of Pharasma spell. We can, when a spell is played during any check, discard this card to add 2 dice to that check. So we're going to add 2d8s to this check. So we got 3d8 and 2d4. Our divine buff is +6, so it's feeling pretty good. We're also going to go ahead and just do an embalming fluid, so we can add 2 to our roll and the poison trait. So we're adding +8 to this roll. So we get 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18, +8, 26. So 26, we only needed an 18. Let's see if we recharge our Fiery Glare spell. So we don't. Unfortunately, Fiery Glare goes into the discard pile. We did defeat the Scarab Swarm by over 4, and we had the fire trait. So this boon is completely banished. That is exciting. Wow, that's a pretty cool way to almost end the campaign. Finally squashing that Scarab Swarm that's been haunting us all campaign long. And I have to also roll for the embalming fluid. Let's see if I make that check. D8. So I rolled a 2. Drelm's disable is +5, and we needed a disable 7 check. So Drelm and the embalming fluid, that is a great combo. As long as he's buffed out with wisdom, he will always make that check. Okay, things are going really good for Drelm. Advancing the blessings deck, rolling for elemental trenches. We rolled a 5. So anything with the fire trait. So looking at Drelm's hand, he doesn't have anything with the fire trait, but we do still have the Curse of the Sphinx we have to deal with. So we are examining this top card. Okay, we examined it, and we have to now encounter it. When you examine this card, succeed at a Constitution or Fortitude 10 check or bury in armor, then he deals 1d6 damage to you. Wow, so that really sucks. So we have to succeed at a Constitution or Fortitude 10 check. This guy is a trigger, outsider, barbarian, acid. Okay, so we don't have anything that's going to help us with that Constitution check. So it says here we have to bury in armor, then he deals 1d6 damage to you. Well, fortunately, Drelm has 2 armors in his hand. We can't use this examine effect. So we can either use this one, or we can use this one. So which one are we going to bury? I guess we'll go ahead and just bury this card. So we're burying that one, and then he's going to go ahead and do 1d6 damage to us. So he does 5 points of damage. So then what we'll do, bury this card to reduce combat damage to 0. Whew. So we just buried 2 armors. That was brutal. So now he is immune to the fire and cold traits. All damage dealt by him is acid damage. So we have to do 2 combat checks here. Well, fortunately, it's just a combat 22 and then a combat 26. But then it says, before you act, succeed at a Constitution or Fortitude 10 check or bury in armor. Well, so wow. So I guess what we have to do is we have to, not only do we have to examine this card, but now there's a before you act effect. So once again, we failed. This is an auto fail for us. So then he's going to do another 1d6 damage to us. Wow, this guy is brutal. Alright, rolling a 1d6. Alright, and we rolled a 4. So that means our entire hand has been discarded. So that means we have to do these 2 combat checks, but they're both auto fails. Drelm does not have any cards in his hand, so that just means that he goes back into the location deck. So we have to find a way to get rid of this Curse of the Sphinx, because otherwise there's no way we're going to be able to finish this campaign. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 cards left in the location deck. Rolling the d8 to see which card is on top. It's the 8th card, so we'll just leave it like that. Alright, resetting Drelm's hand. He's going to really hope to get that. Okay, and sweet, and he got it. He got the remove curse. Okay, so advancing the blessings deck. It's a blessing of Osiris. We have to go ahead and let's see. And that guy, villain, only did acid damage. If we took like cold or poison damage, we'd have to suffer another curse. but we're all set. Doing that right. So rolled a 2. So anything with the bludgeoning trait. Okay, looking at Drelm's hand, he doesn't have anything with the bludgeoning trait. And the first thing he's going to do, he has the remove curse. So boom, we're using that. We're getting rid of Curse of the Sphinx. Ouch. So glad. And now what we're going to do is, let's see. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and explore. We are going to explore. We might regret that. Okay, so we didn't examine this card, but there's the before you act. So before you act, succeed at a Constitution or Fortitude 10 check, or bury an armor, and he deals all that damage to us. So what we're going to do is, so our Constitution is just D6. So just D6. We're going to try it out. Actually, what we can do, yeah, we'll just do it. D6. Alright, so we rolled a 5, and we needed a 10. But fortunately, we have a Stained Glass Elemental in our hand. So we can recharge this card to add 1 plus the scenario's adventure deck number to the result of your check. So this is scenario 6, so we're adding 7 to this roll. So we rolled a 12. So we did succeed at the before you act effect, but we still have to do a combat 22 and a combat 26 check. So let's see if we got anything to help us out here. It's not looking too good. So for the first check, it's just gonna be a straight up melee check, which is D10. We're gonna use the corrosion check, or corrosion spell. Discard this card to add 1 die to any check that has a constant. Oh, it actually won't work against him. Wow, not looking good. I think Drelm's in trouble. Alright, so should have been a little more cautious. But as it is, we rolled a 1 for our combat check. Our melee is plus 6. So 7, so we missed that check by a total of 15. And we'll roll for the second check. And we failed that one by 12. So we're taking a total of 27 points of damage. So that will completely destroy our entire hand. And he will go back into the location deck. Alright, so Drelm should have been a little more cautious there. Waited till he had an appropriate hand. I didn't do, oh yeah, well, yeah, that was a waste of the Stained Glass Elemental. We might regret that. Rolling the D8, see which card is on top. It's the third card. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go ahead and reset Drelm's hand. He's slowly losing hand or cards here. He's very much worn down. Advancing the Blessings deck, rolling for Elemental Trenches. We rolled a 6, so anything with the poison trait. Okay, he's got nothing with the poison trait. So what we're going to do now is we will explore. Okay, we get the Hand of Glory. Accessory Magic Gambling Mummy. This is interesting. So display this card next to the deck of a character at your location. While displayed, add 1d8 to that character's stealth check. He may evade non-villain, non-henchman monsters he encounters. Interesting. So we are going to, so it's a item 6. That's pretty exciting. So it's a Wisdom or Divine 11. Alright, so Drelm's going to roll for Wisdom. Or, I'm sorry, Divine. He gets plus 6 to this roll. So 6, and he rolled an 8. Okay, cool. He acquires this card. So he can display it, but then at the end of the turn, he might suffer a Scourge, which he doesn't want to do. So he is going to discard that card. Let's see. And we are kind of running out of time. There's 4 cards left in the location deck. And, okay, so Drelm likes his hand. We're just going to continue on. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's a Blessed of the Ancients. Rolling for Elemental Trenches, we rolled a 2. So anything with the bludgeoning trait. Well, unfortunately, we lost 2 of our best cards, the Dune of Doom and the Sistrum of Bastet. They had the bludgeoning trait. So now, looking at Drelm's hand, I don't think he's going to have what it takes to defeat the villain in case it pops up. So we're just going to have to take a pass turn. We are going to reset our hand. And now we will just continue exploring. Advancing the Blessings deck, Blessing of Osiris. Rolling for Elemental Trenches, we roll a 6. Anything with the Poison trait. Okay, we don't have anything with the Poison trait, so now we will explore. Okay, we get a Baited Jewel Box. Trigger Cash Lock Poison Veteran. Let's see. So, what we have here is when you examine this card, we didn't examine it. So the difficulty to defeat is increased by the Scenario's adventure deck number. So let's see. So it's going to be a +6. And Drelm is going to go ahead and do his disable check. And he's also going to use a Blessing of Abdar. And he has that power where he can recharge this card when he uses it. So we are defeating a barrier. This is a barrier. So we get to add 2 dice to our check. So we're adding a total of, the disable check is D8. Thanks to Blessing of Abdar, we get another 2D8. And since it has, well, we can't use that other. That's all he's got. 3D8, adding +5 to the disable check. So we rolled 15, 20, so we rolled 25. So if defeated by 4 or more, draw an item from the box. So I'm going to draw an item randomly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we get the Bladeguard. We add that to our hand. And this barrier gets banished. So what's cool here is it says that when you defeat a card that has a lock or trap trait, you may examine the top 3 cards of your location deck and put them back in any order. Well, obviously we don't want to examine, because if we trigger that villain's effect, we don't have enough armors to deal with that. So, is there anything else we want to do? Let's take a look at this. Is this going to help us out? Banish this card. Draw a weapon or item from your discard pile. You know, that actually, we're going to do that. We're going to banish this card. We're going to get a weapon or armor from our discard pile, because we lost a lot of cards. So that's actually very helpful. So let's go ahead and look at what we want. I think we're going to want to get the Axe of the Imperative. So Axe of the Imperative back in our hand. So that was very fortuitous just that we got that Baited Jewel Box. Alright, we're going to reset Drelm's hand. We get the Stained Glass Elemental back. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's a Blessing of Bastet. We have to roll for Elemental Trenches. So 6, anything with the Poison trait. So now we are going to explore our location deck. And we get the Elder Afrite. Okay. Outsider, Elemental Janny. Let's see what he's got. Combat 19. Let's see, he's immune to the fire trait. All damage dealt by him is fire. If the check to defeat has a cold trait, add 1d8. If defeated, choose a type of boon other than loot and draw a boon of that type from the box. Okay, well that's pretty cool. It's just a straight up combat 19. Drelm has his melee, which is d10 plus his buff of +6. So he's got that. He's got the Axe of the Imperative. So we'll just do 1d6 plus 2. So adding a d6 to this roll. So let's get a different d6. A lucky d6. Alright, and what else has he got? Well, we'll just go with that. So the total buffs to this roll are 6, 7, 8. And we need a 19. Alright, so we rolled a 5 and a 6. So we did 11 plus 8 is 19. So that was right on the dot. So, if defeated, choose a type of boon other than loot and draw a boon of that type from the box. Okay. Well, I think what we're going to do is, just to be on the safe side, we're going to draw an armor, because we know that that Kepish guy likes armors. So drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get a Catching Cape. Looking at Drelm's hand, we're going to reset that. And now we will advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Ancients. It's the last card in the Blessings deck. Rolling for Elemental Trenches, we roll a 4. So anything with the Electricity trait, Oh wow, that really hurts because we have to recharge our stained glass elemental. Great card. Okay, but that's that. And now we will explore. And we get the villain. So he's back. So fortunately we did not examine this card. He's immune to fire and cold. Before you act, succeed at a Constitution or Fortitude 10 check or burying armor, then he deals 1d6 damage. Well, fortunately we got two armors in our hand. So even if this is an auto fail, we don't want to spend anything on it. So we are going to just auto fail this and take 1d6 before you act. So we have to bury an armor, and then we have to take 1d6 damage to you. So what we'll do is we'll bury this armor, and now we have to take the 1d6 damage. So we take 1 point of damage, and what we can do is we can recharge this card to reduce combat damage by 2. Okay, not bad. Okay, so now we have to go ahead and do these massive combat feats. The only thing Drelm has is the Axe of the Imperative, but since it has a before you act effect, we can add a 1d8. So pretty happy about that. So our total checks are going to be d8, a d6, d10, d6, and a d8. We're adding a total of +8 to this check. So +8. Wow, and we need a 22. That's going to be rough. But we'll try. Do we want to do anything else here? I wonder if there's anything else we can do. Let's see. Well, Drelm has this power where, when you encounter a card before you act, you may recharge a card that has the Abdar or Divine trait to draw a random weapon, armor, or item from the box. After you act, banish that card. If only it was like an extra blessing. Because I want like a Blessing of Isis right now to deal with that acid trait. I don't really think using that power is going to be helpful. So we'll just stick with what we got. Alright, these 3 dice, adding 8 to the roll. Alright, so we rolled a 9, and a 3, and a 6. So we rolled 18, and we had +6 to our roll. So that was very fortunate there. So once again, 9 and 9 is 18. 19, 24, 25, 26. Okay, so we rolled a 26 for the first check. And now we're going to... Do we have an option of discarding this card? You may additionally discard this card to add another d8. Okay, so this time we're going to discard this card to add a d8. And we're going to use a... Can we use this? No, it doesn't have the undead trait. So this blessing is basically not going to help us out at all. So wow. So this is only good against undead. But since we're discarding the Axe of the Imperative, we get to add a d8 to our roll. So we're rolling the d10, d6. Our total buffs are 6, 7, 8. So we're adding +8 to this roll. We're rolling an extra die. Okay, pretty happy with that. And... well, the roll, let's see if this is any good. So we rolled a 9, and 9, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we rolled a 19. Our buffs were 6, 7, 8. So that means we had +8 to that check. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8, 9, 10, 19, 22, 27. Okay, so we made it. Whew. That was pretty close. So we defeated this villain. He's one of the hardest villains in this whole scenario, and we made it. And we also ran out of time. Let's see if Drelm can draw. He has a hand size of 6. So resetting his hand. Okay, he reset his hand successfully with only 1 card left in the deck. So pretty amazing. Okay, so he succeeded. Wow, that was an awesome scenario. This is always facing off against this guy is really cool. Let's go ahead and do a deck check for Drelm. Let's get all the cards here. Since it's the penultimate campaign, I want to make sure I do kind of a detailed deck check. These were all 3 of the armors that he had buried due to the villain there. Okay, so he got Catching Cape. He's obviously going to be getting rid of that card. Doesn't really need it for level 6. Drelm didn't really acquire any new boons. Okay, so he acquired that boon. He's going to a trader for sure, because now he's got something to trade. Man, he buried a lot of cards there. Stained Glass Elemental, what a great card. System of Bastet. Yeah, that was a great scenario. Really happy with it. The reward for this scenario was actually the Kepish of Refuge. So I know this is only like a special reward when you close the final location, but for my campaign I said, oh, that'll be cool if we give it as a, so it's actually an armor. So it says reveal this card to reduce damage dealt to you by 1 or by 2 if it's fire or cold damage. If proficient with light armors, you may play another armor. Recharge this card to reroll the dice on your check, take the new roll. I know it's neat, but not really anything that Drelm wants. So now we're heading into the final scenario, next adventure. The embalming fluid, we're going to keep that. We're going to be trading this item. We don't really need the life lantern. I mean, I don't think that's going to be that beneficial. So the question is what kind of loot, what trader are we going to, right? We got, we can trade him an item, we can trade him an armor. I mean, do we want another armor? We got these 3 great armors. I don't think we need a new armor. It'd be cool to get the Axe of the Imperative is a great weapon. Natron Fang, great against undead. This is great. We got a powerful spell here, Dune of Doom. Corrosion's great. We need the Remove Curse, Sands of Time. Helpful, but not that great. I think we're just going to try to get another item. We are going to visit our pal, Falsine Deek. And Drelm's going to say, look, this is the last scenario coming up next. Give me a really cool item that's going to help me win the campaign. Because I think with the Stained Glass Elemental, Drelm's pretty much like unstoppable. Okay, so randomly determining what part of the item deck I'm going to be looking at. Okay, and here's where we're going. Excuse me, I thought I had a sneeze coming on. So levels 5 or 6 is what Falsine Deek has. Excuse me. Flying Carpet, Tears of Death, or what else does he have? Or the Chest of Keeping. Okay, we've kind of already seen all these items, so not really too impressed with what Falsine Deek has to offer. We definitely don't want the Flying Carpet. The Tears of Death, I mean, we can reveal this card to add 2d8 in the Acid, Cold, or Poison trait. After the check succeeded, a Disable or Craft 12 check. So Drelm's Disable is a +5 on a d8. So he could roll that Craft 12 check if he rolls a 7 or an 8. Maybe we'll just take it as like a last ditch effort, because Chest of Keeping, it's cool but not cool enough. So we'll say, okay, Falsine Deek, you've been trying to trade us this Tears of Death, I think at least once before, maybe even twice in this entire campaign. He's saying, come on, buy the Tears of Death, do it. So we'll do it, because we don't really want the Hand of Glory or the Kepish of Refuge. So we'll keep the Tears of Death. So we successfully traded. The question is it good enough to keep to get rid of one of these cards? And yeah, we're going to get rid of the Life Lantern, because this allows us to use our Divine check in 4d6. So that's possible 24 and then 8, 32 plus. I mean, it's just not enough of a buff, whereas this will actually give us 2d8 and the Acid, Cold, or Poison trait. So we get to choose which type of trait in case there's any immunities. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to, but that means we won't be able to use Embalming Fluid or Bird Feather tokens. But we'll just deal with that shenanigan when we get there. Alright, goodbye Life Lantern. So that is the state of Drelm's deck right there. You can see everything that he has going into the last scenario. And I will have the final scenario of the entire Drelm campaign up next. Alright, thanks for watching.